It began in silence, then came the shouting. A single chair scraping against the polished floor. A hand gripping an arm too tightly. And a woman refusing to leave. The hall smelled faintly of varnished wood and old paper programs. Spotlights made the air shimmer, dust particles swirling like ghosts. Hundreds of people sat in rigid rows, their murmurs bouncing off the high ceilings. At the center aisle, two ushers approached a woman in a dark green coat, her hands clenched white around her purse. "Ma'am, you'll have to come with us. Now," one usher said in a low voice. "I'm not leaving." "Not tonight," Evelyn Hart replied, calm but trembling. "You're disrupting the event," the second usher insisted. Her name was Evelyn Hart, 62 years old, a retired schoolteacher. What could make a quiet woman defy authority in front of hundreds? The answer was buried in the past. Something this evening had ripped open. Hours earlier, the gala had begun like any other. Handshakes, wine glasses, polite applause. But for Evelyn, every speech, every carefully chosen word, felt like sandpaper against a raw wound. Guests in glittering attire mingled under chandeliers. A banner read, "Annual Founders Award, honoring legacy and leadership." On stage, a tall man in a silver suit smiled for cameras. This was Victor Lang, philanthropist, businessman, and the man Evelyn had once trusted. Years ago, Evelyn had been a teacher at Pinecrest Academy. Victor Lang, then the school board president, had promised reforms and funding. But behind closed doors, decisions were made that left vulnerable students without support, and one tragedy Evelyn could never forget. "Ms. Hart, they said they'd help me. But they didn't," a young girl's voice still echoed in her memory. "They promised, Emily," Evelyn had whispered back. "They promised both of us." Emily Dawson, 14 years old. Brilliant. Fragile. A student Evelyn loved like her own daughter. Until the night she didn't come home. Now Victor Lang was being honored for his service to education. And Evelyn couldn't bear to watch. When the MC called Victor's name, Evelyn rose. Not to applaud, but to speak. "You don't deserve this." Her voice rang out sharp and clear, slicing through polite applause. Crowd murmurs turned to gasps. Evelyn's voice broke but didn't falter. 14 years ago, a student begged you for help. And you turned your back. You let her drown in your lies. Victor Lang froze mid-step, his smile cracking. Ushers glanced at each other. The MC's voice wavered nervously. "Security, please." They thought it would be simple. Walk her out, hush her voice. But Evelyn wasn't alone. Not tonight. As the ushers gripped her arms, an older man in the front row, Mr. Dawson, Emily's father, stood up. His face was pale, but his eyes burned. "She's telling the truth," he said hoarsely. Then another person rose. And another. Until the entire front row, parents, teachers, former students, stood in silent protest. "Sir, please sit down," one usher pleaded. "No," Mr. Dawson said louder. "We've been silent long enough." What began as a single voice became a wall of defiance. The gala's carefully polished surface cracked wide open. Victor Lang wiped sweat from his brow. The MC forced a smile that wouldn't hold. Evelyn's pulse hammered in her ears. Leaning toward the usher holding her arm, Evelyn whispered, "If you remove me, you'll have to remove them all." The hall was electric. Cameras rolled. Every guest, every journalist, every phone recorded what happened next. "This is inappropriate. This is my night," Victor Lang shouted, his voice cracking as he tried to regain control. Mr. Dawson stepped forward, voice rising like a verdict. "No, Victor. This is Emily's night. And every student you failed." It was no longer a gala. It was a trial. And the jury was everyone watching. Evelyn pulled free of the ushers. The audience was divided, some stunned, some whispering approval, others glancing nervously at security cameras. She looked directly at Victor Lang, her voice calm now, almost soft. "You built your career on promises to children like Emily. You lied. You let her slip through the cracks. And you never even said her name. Something in Victor's face changed. For the first time, his confidence faltered. Not because of Evelyn, but because of the dozens of eyes burning into him. Mr. Lang, the MC stammered. Perhaps we should take a brief intermission. The ceremony ended without a speech, without applause. But not without impact. Within days, the story spread beyond the hall. News headlines flashed across screens, gala disrupted by protest. Clips of parents demanding investigation surfaced. Reporters swarmed Victor Lang's office. Long-buried evidence came to light. Evelyn Hart didn't set out to become a hero. She just wanted someone to say Emily's name, out loud, in front of the man who tried to erase it. But courage has a way of spreading, like fire catching dry grass. They tried to remove her. Instead, she stood her ground. And when she did, the entire front row stood with her. That night, Evelyn walked out of the hall into the cool night air, trembling but unbroken. Streetlights cast long shadows as Mr. Dawson caught up to her. "Thank you for not letting her be forgotten," he said quietly. "She was worth it," Evelyn whispered back. Sometimes, one voice is enough to start an avalanche. The question is, when it's your turn to stand, will you? I would like to see your view in the comment section.